think we're recording. All right, this is the start of first episode of Lowdown Podcast. Very excited.
Yep.
My name's Chase Roberts.
My name's Matthew Linden.
My name's Will Campbell. My buddies call me Bill.
I'm Jackson Stone.
Yeah. No really expectations on where this is going to go. It'll be as big as we want it to be. Just
covering whatever we want or whatever y'all want to cover and whatever we think will be exciting for y'all or whatever.
Just four guys hanging out, talking sports.
Man at the table.
Man at the
There'll
table.
be guests in the future that'll have their insight and we'll have fun.
It's going to be a fun thing. Definitely a fun thing, for sure.
We haven't got a certain day we're going to post the podcast, so bear with us. So, could be a Wednesday, could be a Thursday.
Could be Monday.
Details will come.
Tuesday.
Details will come later on, but bear with us. Also,
Sunday.
as much as it's our podcast, it's yours. So
Yeah.
please give us recommendations, ideas. Maybe if we could try to get a guest, we'll do our best. We'll DM them, email them, all the good things.
Sliding them DMs.
This is segment 1 of Lowdown Sports, where we're going to go over two teams, expectations for LSU and Tennessee. We're also going to go over conference realignment in the SEC for the upcoming season in 2023 and 2024. Our favorites out of the East and West, and the coaches that we think need to prove it or move it this season. So we're going to start off with LSU and their schedule. They open up September 3rd, Labor Day weekend, in Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, against FSU. It's a rematch from last season. This game has a lot of high stakes in it. Has Heisman potential. It has national championship complications in it. I don't have the spreads yet. They haven't come out with the spreads quite yet. But as an LSU fan, I'm taking LSU in this first game, just with key returners with Mason Smith. He got hurt in the first half with the ACL injury. Also, Jaden Daniels returning on the offense, Malik Neighbors returning on the offense, and Mason Taylor returning on the offense, especially with the whole offensive line returning. I think they're going to have a solid year. This game's going to, be a statement game for both teams, offensively and defensively. I think the game's really going to be one of the trenches, where LSU's favored is their defensive line, and where Florida State's favored is their offensive line. Really, a key players we need for that game is Malik Neighbors, honestly. What are y'all thinking about this game?
I'm excited, dude.
I hope we have a good game we did last year.
Oh, yeah, it was no-biter coming down to the last play. LSU got that fumble recovery, drove 98 yards on the field. Punched it in, but couldn't capitalize on that PAT that got blocked by Jared Verse.
I'm excited to watch Jaden Daniels this year. I think he's going to be something special. He was warming up towards the end of last season, so I think he's going to do pretty good this year.
Yeah, especially with the second year of Brian Kelly. These players know their system. Last year they were kind of scrambling with the introduction of Brian Kelly. They did heat up towards the end of the year with that big win against Alabama, big wins against Florida, big wins against Auburn and Ole Miss. But really it comes down to this game. This is a make-or-break game for LSU. If they lose like they did last year, it's going to hurt them in playoff contention and really the start of the season. You got to start hot, you want to finish hard. But with that being said, after that game, we got Grambling State at Tiger Stadium, September 9th. LSU's a clear-cut favorite in that one. Sure. It's an HBCU. Nothing against HBCUs, but they usually don't produce the same talent as SEC Division I.
They don't have the money.
Yeah, they don't have the money, the funds to bring in those guys.
Dion would like to have a word with you about that one.
But then after that, it's at Mississippi State at Davis Wade Stadium, September 16th. Rest in peace to their former coach. But I think LSU will come out on top of that one as well. Just with the returning starters, LSU has the second most in the West with 13 returning starters. Then we go off into Arkansas, where I believe they'll catch another dub. But I think that's going to be a very nail-biting game like it was last season. It was a 13-10 finish. LSU coming on top. And then I think LSU's big test, going into the stretch of SEC play, is at Ole Miss. I think that's a trap game. They're going to start off, in my opinion, 4-0. But that trap game is going to come up and bite them maybe. Hopefully they can prepare. Coach Brian Kelly can get them ready for that one like they did last year. After that, they got Mizzou. Mizzou is also another trap game, in my opinion, back-to-back trap games.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
I think Mizzou has a lot of potential. Even though last year they weren't the greatest, they weren't the most consistent. There's times where you thought, dang, this team could be an 8-win season, and there's times you thought these guys are trash. But with Mizzou, a lot of people, in the industry believe that Mizzou is a dark horse. I see why. They have a lot of returning starters and a lot of offensive production returning this year. And then Auburn, Hugh Freeze coming back to the SEC. That's a big one. Had some success at Liberty. Had a draft pick. Went to the Titans. Then, after that game, you got Army. Playing a military school, you got to get ready for that triple option. That's always a big task ahead. Mm-hmm. But I believe they'll win that with a landslide. And then you go into your off week and get Alabama. I think that's where LSU will falter. I think Alabama's going to get their get-back game from last season. Brian Kelly, gutsy call at the end. Went for 2 in overtime. Mason Taylor and Jaden Daniels, that connection at the end, really, really pushed forward. And then in that Florida game, LSU and Florida, historically are big rivals. It's Gator Week, Gator Bay Week, as LSU fans would say. I think they'll win just because, Billy Napier, second year. First year wasn't too hot, but, they have some promise this year. But I don't think they'll be able to overcome a mature LSU team. Georgia State, after that one, November 18th, I think that's a clear-cut win as
you
well.
You never know with that team.
And
you never know.
That's just that's
see that.
that's PTSD from Tennessee back in 2018. But you feel bad for those guys. A&M, that's a big one I'm excited for.
I've heard a lot about A&M this year.
Yeah, A&M, Jimbo Fisher, I think he's on the hot seat.
A lot of talk.
On the hot seat after going 6-7 last year. But I think LSU gets that get-back game as well. They played sloppy in College Station last season in a late-night game back in November. I think they'll do well, and they'll come out on top. What's y'all's opinions about LSU?
Well, I'm usually kind of short when it comes to LSU. I don't research LSU other than me listening to you.
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
But I know they have a lot of returning starters. And I always wish the best for them.
I was looking at Arkansas as a trap game personally.
I agree with you.
But the thing is, I'm looking at the schedule. You got a lot of home games. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we
do have a lot of home games.
They have a lot of home games. Last
A
year we had a lot of
bad
away
news.
games.
Yeah.
I think also just this year's returning stars on top of the recruiting class. I mean, it was a top 5 overall ranked recruiting class. Transfer portal, they were number 2 with 13 transfers. Recruiting class, they were ranked number 6 overall, number 5 in recruiting in this offseason. I think they're going to come with some veteran players. We got a guy from Oregon State, Omar Spates, veteran player. He's a 3-year veteran at Oregon State. He's going to help defensively, especially with our front 7 being stronger than it was last year. But that Ole Miss game, I think, with Lane Kiffin, that offense, he can have anybody.
In Oxford too.
It's in Oxford.
Oxford's
not a
huge home field advantage.
Yeah, not a huge home field advantage. Their student section doesn't show up that much, but
leave at halftime.
But with that being said, Lane Kiffin could put 11, 12-year-olds out there, and he still has a shot to beat anybody, in my opinion, with that offense. But
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you seeing nothing against Drinkwitz, but Mizzou as a trap game? That's interesting.
It's at Mizzou. Last time LSU played Mizzou in 2020 at Mizzou, they did not win. A lot of those guys are still on the team.
Though, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those guys on that.
Tigers right there, baby.
It's a battle of the Tigers. I think just a lot of the players from that team that was on the 2020 team, especially freshmen that are still with the team, they remember that game. It was not pretty. That 2020 team after that national championship year was lackluster, to say the least.
Yeah.
They were trash.
Your also expectations. You had Joe Burrow.
Yeah, the expectations
Marshall,
were, after you
Justin
lose the guys,
Jefferson.
15 guys in the draft, it's kind of hard to recoup.
They have proven themselves in the NFL as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a really, your program's great when you can recover like the Alabamas, the Georgias. LSU just couldn't do it. Now they're rebuilding with the new coach, Brian Kelly's second year. I think they're going to be strong. I think they're going to come out the gate hot against FSU. I'll be at that game, so maybe we'll give you all some footage of that game. I'll take some videos.
You better get some footage.
Need some footage.
I want to be there.
So I really do. I'm a favorite of the schedule for LSU. I think it's a cutthroat schedule. It's not as strong as Tennessee's, but it's a cutthroat schedule there's a lot of SEC play off the bat after the first 2 weeks, which I like. I love going into SEC play. I think
I like starting off hot.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and don't have to have the baby the lineup right off the bat.
100%. And I just think that Mizzou being the East we've drawn this year is a big one. I mean, I think they'll win personally, but I think it'll be a close game. As a close game, I think LSU will probably bring in 14-point win. But Mizzou's one of those teams, like, again, their consistency.
Honestly, yeah, you really can't. You can't.
You
mess
can't,
around with them, though. You
because
really can't.
last year Mizzou had Georgia on the back burner. I mean, it was 16-9 at one point. It was a great game, but
He always scares people.
yeah, they're just a scary team. I mean, and then Auburn and Hugh Freeze. That's also another scary one for me.
That was another trap
just
game,
because Hugh Freeze, every first-year coach, for the most part, comes in and at least beats somebody. It's not a surprise that a person, especially with Hugh Freeze experience in the SEC and a background in the SEC, he's going to beat somebody, and it could be anybody. It could be Georgia, it could be LSU, it could be Bama. I'm excited to see Hugh Freeze back in the SEC after his time out of it. And I think, with his success at Liberty, I think he could transfer it over to Auburn. Obviously, being two different sides of schools, I think Auburn has the potential, has the funds, has the people there to help him recruit and get the players that he needs on the field to perform. But it really comes down to, for me, the two games that are make or break for LSU this season are the Florida State game and the Alabama game, which I have them beating Florida State, and I have them losing to Alabama at Bryant Denny.
Yeah.
Anything y'all want to talk about to finish this off?
No, I think. Do you have
We're
anything?
good. I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
I love the in-depth.
Should we? Let's go to Tennessee then.
Tennessee.
Yeah, let's go.
Pull their schedule up real quick.
Go ahead.
All right, so moving on. Tennessee's schedule. I mean, this is interesting for sure. So week 1, we got Virginia in Nashville. Tennessee, first game of the season, also new team. Don't know how it's going to look.
Whole new quarterback.
Whole new quarterback. We got Austin Peay next, and on to Florida in Gainesville. Then we got UTSA in Knoxville, South Carolina in Knoxville. We got the bye week before A&M. And then Bama at Bryant Denny, Kentucky and Lexington, UConn in Knoxville, Mizzou in Missouri, Georgia in Knoxville, Vanderbilt in Knoxville. So for me, we're gonna see how we play in Virginia against Virginia, because I don't like that first game. The first game taken lightly.
Yeah. Especially with
last year against Pitt, it was a little iffy there for a little bit.
Yeah, and that was
in overtime.
But,
I think with that Virginia game, also with their players that passed away last season, I hope they do something cool for them.
Out of respect.
Because Tennessee did that with the stickers in the one game. I forget which game it was last year, but they did give some homage to Virginia's passed away players. So I hope they do something cool this year, especially in Nashville. Nashville's an upbeat town.
it's technically a neutral site, not necessarily in that instance, but
You gotta go see him in Nashville.
gotta go see him in Nash, boys.
Still Tennessee.
Yeah. So Austin Peay, I'm gonna say dub easily. Florida trap game for me. It's in the swamp.
Yeah.
It always gets me when they're going away, especially in the swamp.
Environment's gonna be crazy.
And for me, the night game, 7 p.m. kickoff time, I mean,
Yeah, especially Tennessee's usually
It's
a
a
slow starting team.
it's a night game in the swamp. That's not an easy place to play for anybody, even if they're – and Tennessee and Florida, what I've learned over my 23 years, no matter how bad each team is, they give each other a hard time. I mean, last year, Tennessee was obviously a way better team, but 38-33, barely pulled it off in Neyland, with Anthony Richardson being gone. Graham Hurts, probably the potential starter for Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. I think Tennessee comes out on top.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, we'll see about that one. UTSA, I'm gonna say dub, but I wouldn't take them lightly either, just because as a Go 5 team, I think they're pretty strong.
No, they're Power 5 now. They're Power 5.
You're right. You were right.
This year they're Power 5. They're Power 5.
Are they?
Yeah, they're Power 5 this year. Let me see. Actually, no, you're right. They're a group of 5. They're group of 5. Excuse me. They
but yeah, like I said, you can't take that team lightly.
cannot.
South Carolina.
South Carolina always scares me because no matter how good either team is, it ends up being kind of close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year it was crazy.
Especially,
atrocious.
yeah, especially with the
That's
emotions.
coming from a Tennessee fan. I love the Vols more than anything.
I didn't even get to watch the game.
Yeah, it was emotional too.
I was
with,
on a plane the whole time.
with Hendon going
Back
down.
and forth
That
through
game's
Grand
gonna have some
Canyon.
emotion behind it for sure.
Yeah.
Because obviously, South Carolina they stormed the field. A lot of things were said about.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
And Spencer Rattler, I mean, had a Heisman performance that night. Maybe he can reproduce one. Maybe not. He's inconsistent as well. But I like Tennessee in that one for sure.
Yeah. But if Spencer Rattler plays like the Heisman that he's supposed to be, then it could be like a rematch.
Yeah,
with
trouble
LSU.
on your hands.
Yeah. So, A&M. I say a win, but I think it's going to be close.
Texas A&M, I never know if they're going to be at the top level or they're not.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
you never know. Each year it's different.
That's what I'm saying. It's a trap game because they have the athletes, but their coaching inconsistency.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jimbo. I mean, Jimbo's won an Natty, but I don't know if Jimbo has produced like he should be in the SEC, like he did in the ACC. There's a question mark there for him. He's in the hot seat, I believe. Very much so in the hot seat.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, last time we played A&M, it was overtime. We easily could have walked away with that win if we didn't have 7 turnovers. I think it was 7 turnovers. It was something crazy.
It was
like
something
that.
absurd. I was about to say 8, but I'm
was-
probably wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it was something like that. Hopefully, different turnout in Knoxville. We play A&M and Alabama back to back,
And Kentucky. I mean, you're in
and
the,
Kentucky.
You're in a little
And-
3-game
and
gauntlet
those,
right there.
Those 2 games are away, so
Yeah.
that one, that's a tough stretch.
Go on a
right
little
there.
road trip before homecoming.
Alabama always scares me because, we get our butts kicked 90% of the time.
Yeah, well,
But I was blessed with last year.
Yeah, that 52-49.
Just
Game
for y'all's
up and
information, I didn't go to bed till about 3 in the morning just because of the Alabama.
yeah. Matt has a funny thing about Tennessee fans and their memorabilia, we should say.
Y'all should see my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Kentucky's also. I have a win, but it, like I said, it could be a toss-up, and I think Kentucky's due, especially against us, just because last year, I mean, Will Levis didn't play to his abilities. Also, I think they ran a different offense from what I remember. That hurt him.
I think Will Levis has had a lackluster year as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, the year before though, I mean, he was running. I mean, I think he ran how many yards?
I don't know, but
Ran through.
he was
it,
pretty damn
everything. He
good
was-
last year. But this past season, it was like a ghost of his former self. I mean, he just couldn't get it going. I mean, kudos to him for getting drafted this season. I think he's a hell of a player. But last year, it struggled offensively. I think it threw a couple picks. Made that Tennessee defense look really good.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll get to this
Really
later
good,
on.
really
but I
good.
have-
It was a 44-6 win for Tennessee.
We'll get to it later on, but I have Kentucky as my dark horse, but I still have Tennessee as getting a dub on that one. I
agree.
believe it'll be a good game, but
hope to be at that game. I think me and Matt are gonna try and go to that game.
Make an appearance there.
yeah, give me
Um,
a shout. I might come
Hey.
tag along.
Come on, everyone, come on. So then,
Homecoming.
UConn,
It's homecoming.
homecoming dub.
I think that's a.
I think that's a dub.
I mean, UConn, they're a basketball school, but they're trying to get that football program
Natties.
up.
They only breed natties in basketball.
Yeah. I think the Tennessee's obviously the favorite to win that by a landslide.
Hopefully. After that, Mizzou in Columbia.
That's
We
gonna
talked
be
about it earlier. That's going to be an interesting game.
Especially after watching them play Georgia so hot off
Yeah.
the bat. That'll be a tough game, but
I just think
still
after
have
that
Tennessee on
road,
top on that one.
after that 3-game road trip, and y'all get that break, playing another SEC team's gonna be interesting because the level of competition goes down, and hopefully your stars get some rest. They get pulled before the second quarter.
Yeah.
Get some rest. Let the second and third strings do their job.
Yeah. Georgia, November 18th.
I think every Tennessee fan has that one circled. Personally,
I don't.
It's at Needland.
It is at Neyland.
We gotta be optimistic here.
Optimism is always great.
I'm not going to put anything down for that one, but I have my hopes are high.
I've got a loss.
As always, being a Tennessee fan, your
Yeah.
hopes are kind of up here.
I've got a loss just because of last season. Hopefully, I
Yeah.
get proved wrong. But yeah, it's gonna be Neyland. That place. It's probably. I'm assuming it's gonna be a night game. Hopefully.
And this year, coming from a Tennessee fan standpoint, I have the L against Alabama, but the dub against Georgia.
That'd be sweet. I'd take that. I'll take that. Honestly. And then Vanderbilt, last game before SEC Championship, December 2nd. I've got a dub, but also can't take Vanderbilt lightly.
Cannot.
Never.
In-state rival.
In-state rivalry.
Little brother, big brother game.
Yeah.
Hey, Vanderbilt, keep swinging them sticks. Keep swinging them sticks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. Thank you for the GPA boost.
Making the
Appreciate you.
state look good.
Appreciate
Making
you.
the state of Tennessee look great.
Appreciate it.
Keep that hospital running.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Tennessee's success is going to be, obviously, with, Coach Heupel's
You know what?
I love the energy
offense.
from
Their wide receivers, they bring in Brew McCoy back, who's obviously big guy from
Big guy.
Maybe the good.
6'5".
I think the number one to look for.
Yeah, he's going to be the number one option all season, especially, he had the
Well,
big
I-
catch against Alabama
yeah.
last year. Squirrel White's going to come into his own, hopefully, for y'all. I like Squirrel. I think he has potential. He's a small guy, but he has that speed where it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous on the edges for sure, especially how y'all spread out your wide receivers, pass the numbers to the sideline.
Yeah.
And people always talk about like Joe Milton. He's obviously showed that he's on last few years on the lower end, especially at Michigan
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But you could say the same thing about Hendon Hooker at
Exactly.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Was it Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you say? You're right.
And then
So
he started off slow.
he hasn't thrown a pick.
Yeah.
Starting.
Yeah,
Don't
really
talk
for y'all, I believe Joe
Knock on wood,
Milton.
knock on wood.
Joe Milton, his consistency has to, show this year.
Yeah.
He has a hell of an arm, but sometimes you feel like he's just throwing piss missiles for no reason. Just unneeded throws.
He doesn't know let off the gas. Go
Yeah,
off the gas
he's
a little
just-
bit.
It's
If
all
I
gas.
had that arm, I'd be throwing it.
That's what I'm saying.
A 1 yard slant, he's throwing
Why
98.
throw a 5 yard out when you can throw a 6-yard
Should've threw
go?
him
I
in the
think
tomahawk.
I really do think the strength in this Tennessee team is going to be in their wide receivers. Just because
Especially
their O line, they lost some big guys, especially Darnell Wright, top 10 pick in the NFL, Chicago Bears. Jerome Carvin, he's gone. But returns, Cooper Mays at center. That's he's the leader of the offensive line. He's going to do big things for y'all. I just think
did
that
the other Mays brother leave?
yeah, he's gone. He's been gone for
a while.
yeah. But I just think they're just gonna you have a 3-headed monster in Small, Wright, and Sampson. I just believe the production is gonna go to wide receivers this year, just because you're losing Darnell Wright.
You got John Campbell replacing him, so.
Yeah.
But don't know if you can replace Darnell. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, though, if you looked at our offense last year, our running backs actually set up the pass game, though.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
hopefully, no, go ahead.
Hell, even our running backs are just as good as the receivers nowadays.
Yeah.
Coming out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And I don't think the problem for Tennessee is going to be their offense. I think their offense is going to, do what Heupel needs them to do. I think what's going to help Tennessee with the return of defense production being 69% and all the transfers you got in the transfer portal for the defense, I think they're going to be a lot stronger, more veteran-based. A lot of those guys were young last year in the secondary. Better leadership. Towards the end of the season, leadership issues kind of, arrived. But I think this team's going to be more mature in how they handle things.
Hopefully. Yeah.
I think good season. I really have y'all going 10-2 with a loss at Georgia and a
Yeah,
loss
I've
at Bama. Those are not bad losses at the end of the day. Those are A-tier programs. They proved it with Bama having basically, hate to say it, a dynasty from 08 to 2021.
Yeah.
They've lackluster his past 2 years to Bama standard. Any other program would be happy with those seasons.
Exactly.
Georgia now, coming alive with Kirby Smart. You boys want to throw anything in?
Yeah.
How you feel?
Going back to key points, we got a lot of transfers coming in. The one that I look at the most is another receiver, Dante Thornton from Oregon.
Yeah.
Dude is 6'5", 214 pounds, and he can fly.
Oh yeah, he has killer speed.
Yeah,
Killer speed.
Him and Squirrel's gonna be hard to
Brew
contain.
McCoy, we have a lot of size in the receiver corps.
Exactly.
Especially with Milton being able to throw the ball and all three of those receivers.
And then being able to run with their size.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a dangerous team to look out
And
for.
especially, if I'm sure, didn't we receive 2 of the top recruits at wide receiver as well?
Yeah.
Oh, for the 2024
2
class.
new ones out of
Coming
high
up.
school?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So we have they'll learn from the older guys.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee's the number one offense in the country again this year.
Playing fast.
Wouldn't be surprised.
We'll see.
Really,
it's a gimmick offense from George's
Chase,
perspective.
let me pick your mind on Nico. What are we thinking?
Nico? Golly, dude. I don't know. I think he's a stud. But like I said, I really, there's not much to say until we watch him play.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe train or we?
I mean, the last guy that
we
was
have stage?
Samoan, y'all didn't like him too much.
Garantano?
Yeah, I mean, y'all forced him out of Neyland. So hopefully this is not the same result with Nico. I think Nico has a lot of upside potential. I think he's going to sit this year. I think it's the
Definitely.
Joe show.
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
Joe proves that he can't have the show no more.
that's the smarter option.
Yeah, I think Nico is right now hype. And hype's good.
I like-
Hype's great.
Ride the
feel
hype
like-
train, man.
I feel with Joe, he played under Hendon. He knows the offense. He's played with the offense before.
And Hendon loved Joe as well.
Yeah.
And so
They
they're
took
a lot of
best
confidence.
buds, so they bonded together.
Yeah.
100%.
Two more guys I want to point out on the defense side. They were considered a package deal from BYU. Keenan Peely and Gabe Judy Lawley. I don't know much about Keenan Peely. I was trying to find some stuff before this, really quick. But Lawley, he apparently was one of their top-rated defensive players, and he's a DB, so that's going to help us out a bunch as well.
There's that veteran presence, too.
Exactly.
You're not getting freshmen.
Are they both DBs?
No, Keenan's, I believe, a linebacker as well. So that's going to help us really well, too.
Especially losing y'all's stud last year. What's his name?
Byron Young.
Not
Jeremy
Byron.
Banks?
Yeah.
You talking about
Banks,
Jeremy
yeah,
Banks?
Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
Hell, even with you, Byron Young was a big deal.
Byron Young was massive for us.
Especially coming from a Dollar General store,
Yeah,
managing that.
great story on him. I think that's all I want to talk about with Tennessee, honestly.
Can we go over this A&M game real quick? I just want to talk
What do you
about how
What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk
how
about?
I really do think you might not agree, but this trap game after the bye week, this was A&M. You know they're bringing back the highest in the SEC with offense production, 82%. They had a big transfer. You know, people were running away, but a lot of the guys stayed. 82% of the offense production is returning. Plus, they can recruit. Jimbo recruit. They're gonna be scary. And I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game between Tennessee and A&M, just because there's question marks still in Tennessee's defense. We don't know where they're at right now, but there's question marks on A&M's offense. I think
There's
it's gonna,
question marks everywhere.
yeah, I
but-
think it's gonna be. I
feel like this whole SEC season is a question mark. Just writing on the whole thing.
Honestly.
think everybody's excited just because they'll say it. Tennessee's back, but we'll have to see this season.
You heard it here first. From LSU
heard
guy.
it from your boy over here.
No, I don't.
I think it's a big game with that 82%
Yeah.
offensive production,
I'm
and they have
excited.
77% defensive production coming back. I mean, it's gonna be
Let me.
I give Tennessee the edge just because it's at home.
100%.
It's Neyland.
Neyland's hard to play
So
in.
let me ask you a question real quick.
It's loud.
Last year, undefeated. I mean, possibly we could go 5-0 leading up into A&M, 6-0 if we beat them. Do you think that, depending on how Alabama plays, you think it's going to be as hyped up as last year, or what?
I think, and this is just me being facetious, but I think Nick Saban has that bad boy circled. I think
100%.
I think them
100%.
boys
Who
and
they got at starting quarterback this year?
They don't know.
they don't know yet.
Not the guy that came
Who?
in every
Milton-
once in a while?
Milton-
They haven't decided the quarterback yet.
Monroe,
Milroe, Buckner, who transferred from Notre Dame. I think it's Tyler Buckner,
yeah,
right?
Tyler Buckner,
And then Simpson,
yeah, Simpson.
who's also a Tennessee boy.
I think just no matter what, with Nick Saban, he's gonna get them guys ready to play. I mean, we're looking
100%.
2 months into this season. I think Alabama has that one scheduled. They're ready for the Vols to come down to T-Town and play a game.
And I think Tennessee's history, if they're undefeated going into a big game, it's not good.
Especially coming off a bye week.
Exactly. But
I think
I-
there's a lot
I
of
hate-
emotion before that game. Get the South Carolina A&M game. That's gonna be a lot of
That's
emotion.
back to back right there. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, like honestly, that's a stretch right there. South Carolina, A&M, Bama, Kentucky.
But thank
Kentucky,
God it's a.
Kentucky. Me living in Lexington for a year, I'll tell you what. Those Kentucky fans hate us.
Oh, yeah.
I've learned to hate Kentucky a lot more just being there as well. I think this. I mean, I don't know how Kentucky fans feel. I think they've got us circled 100%.
Oh yeah. especially after the way
Yeah, that performance of Will Levis.
Will Levis and how it was talked about. You know, obviously there's social media adds another aspect for fans that a lot of Tennessee fans were letting Will Levis know how they felt after that game, and a lot of Kentucky fans drove home from Knoxville. Very sad that game, and I think they're ready to
A long haul back to Kentucky from Knoxville.
come to Kroger Field and show them that they got a quarterback now, and Devin Leary who can play.
Upgrade.
Yeah,
I think it's an
I mean,
upgrade,
I
100%.
think the size isn't there with him as there was with Levis, but I mean he's proven himself at NC State that he can play the big game. He could beat the good team.
Yeah.
He beat Clemson. He's not afraid of the light. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think every team in the SEC is going to have a close game. I don't think even though Vegas is going to have favorites and there's going to be lines and spreads, I think every game's going to really matter this season like it hasn't before.
This is a lot of a different schedule than last year.
Heck, I just now noticed, just like off the LSU, Tennessee has 7 home games as well.
Yeah.
A lot at
7
Neyland.
out of 12, and LSU's got 7 out of 12.
Yeah, I think honestly, I know we're Tennessee and LSU fans here. I think it's either obviously the favorites to win the SEC are Bama, LSU, and out of the West, and the dark horse out of the West would probably be A&M or Auburn. But the favorites are Georgia, Tennessee, and it comes down to that Georgia Tennessee game. Because win or lose the Alabama game, you can still make it to Atlanta as a Tennessee fan.
You know,
For sure.
surprisingly, we play him really late this year, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. I mean,
Somebody's got the script, and we don't.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's still the third Saturday in October.
I'm talking about
Same time
I'm talking
every
about
year.
Georgia.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about
Georgia.
Georgia.
Georgia's second to last game of the
Yeah,
season.
that's pretty late.
The tough game about that, playing a big game at the end of the season, is you don't know who you're going to lose going through.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
injuries for any players, but you still got to play one of your biggest games at game 10.
Yeah, banged up or not banged up.
And another thing, like that's also late. Could be a completely different season than we're talking about.
Yeah,
100%.
depending on previous games, if Georgia does their
If
job,
Georgia lives up for the hype,
and
if
Tennessee does their
lives
job.
up for the hype, you know,
that's a potential.
it's
Obviously,
gonna be a long season when it
Yeah.
comes down to that. But yeah, that's it.
I think we got it. Somebody's got it.
Okay. Favorite games leading up to the season. Who wants to start? I got a bunch.
let's start with Jackson.
Jackson,
style.
we go?
I'll go ahead and go. I've got LSU versus Alabama. With that crazy game last year, I mean, I was going for LSU, and I hate LSU. I love seeing Jaden Daniels play. He is exciting, and I think he'll have another good game this year. With Alabama's iffy quarterback situation, but they'll have it figured out. But I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a good year.
I like that.
He's electric. He's an electric player for
I
sure.
like seeing LSU on top above Alabama.
He's got a good
For
pair
sure.
of legs. He's warmed up to the offense now. I think he's going to go off.
I would say Tennessee, South Carolina.
Tennessee, South
Yeah,
Carolina.
the emotions behind that game. For sure. I mean, I've already touched on it in previous segments, but
We've all touched on it.
um,
I'm pissed off.
it's
that game
it's
still.
I'm
that the
still
fact
fired up about
that
that game.
the fact that Tennessee couldn't stop South Carolina but once, and they punted in the third quarter. If you're punting in the third quarter for the first time, it's a good sign your offense is doing the job. Spencer Rattler, I mean, I think he had 5 touchdowns. He went like crazy, like
Heisman.
33 for
Heisman
40,
game.
Heisman.
400 something yards in the air. But he lost one of his big targets, Jaheim Bell. He transferred to Florida State. I'll touch on that later. But I mean, it's gonna be a great game. Shane Beamer's proven himself to be a coach that can build a program from nothing.
Yeah.
In South Carolina, I mean, I think they want it bad, and I think Tennessee wants it bad because that game, obviously has implications for the SEC championship in the East. That's a game that both teams want to get the job done and move forward and look to the better picture of winning a national championship and an SEC championship because, frankly, neither team's won one in a long time. In fact, I don't think South Carolina's ever won an SEC championship.
Fact check that.
I'm not 100% sure.
Not 100% sure.
Not 100%
Fact
sure, but
check.
it's
We'll
been
Google it.
quite some time considering that the SEC started having a championship in the late 90s in Birmingham and then they moved it to Atlanta. I don't think South Carolina's won it. Mizzou's been there twice since they've joined back in
Crazy.
2012.
Crazy. Yeah.
So I think that's a big game for just an SEC fan in general to mark their calendar, be like, I'm gonna watch that game, 3:30, 7:30,
Whatever time it is.
12 p.m. kickoff. It don't matter. But I think it'd probably be a night game, be it in Neyland, just like South Carolina got their night game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good one. Another one that I think we all kind of have, in a sense, is Alabama Texas.
Huge game.
Sarkisian being a former Nick Saban product, he's starting to pick up that program, getting recruits. Especially a big one, Arch Manning.
Well, I think Quinn's starting, right?
Yeah,
He's
Quinn's
playing.
starting, but Arch Manning was a big pickup for them for the future. And then last year being such a close game, Texas playing honestly their A ball game, and Alabama not playing so much of an A ball game. A lot of turnovers hurt them that game, I believe.
Well, I think Quinn getting hurt that game.
Yeah.
I think if Quinn didn't get hurt, Texas wins that game easily.
Yeah,
100%.
it was a close game, came down
Yeah.
the wire. And then another one that I think has huge playoff implications, just because it did last year. Utah versus USC. Utah had USC's number.
Mhm.
Utah has a lot of people's number. I mean, the year before they had Oregon's number. Cam Rising coming back. That coach loves to play hard-nosed football. That's kind of Utah's, identity in themselves.
Yeah. I lost a lot of money. Utah, USC, I'll tell you that.
I remember you sweating that day. I remember that.
I was at his house.
You were sweating.
I switched my pick bet.
Yeah.
Right at the last second. I was like, I'm not feeling Utah. I switched it to USC. And
According to the Googler, South Carolina won the East in 2010,
Okay.
and they won the ACC championship in 1969.
Yeah.
That's it?
So yeah, I don't think they've well.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, you can fact check me on this one. I think in 1991, South Carolina and Arkansas joined the SEC. They're not the original founders of the SEC. SEC was formed in 1933.
Damn, you got the facts, man.
Yeah, 1933. So they're not the original founders, like LSU, Tennessee, Bama, even Sewanee, Tulane,
Tulane, SEC.
Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and
Sewanee was in there?
Sewanee was SEC, boy.
Yeah, they actually won
College
SEC
of the South.
championship.
College of the South, man.
Yeah, so I think that's a big game.
Yeah.
You got any games, Chase?
Yeah, for piggybacking off of Utah, I got one game. Utah, Florida.
Ooh, revenge.
With my sister going to Utah, her being a Ute,
Utes.
and
That's hard to say. My sister's a Ute.
yeah, but I know that game single-handedly. I mean, that early on the season, possibly ruined their playoff chance. Early.
Yeah, especially last
and-
year, it's huge.
And that also projected Florida to be something that
They weren't.
they weren't. So
Nowhere near what they were.
Yeah.
supposed to
Hey.
be.
I've got that game.
Week one
marked
doesn't
down.
tell the story.
Exactly. A couple more games I've got, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got USC and Colorado, and then this one's gonna be an interesting one because I don't know if y'all. I got Washington and Oregon. I got a bunch of friends from Washington. They're big Dogs fans,
Yeah, Huskies.
big Huskies guys. Michael Penix is the real deal.
Yeah.
I'll say it. He's a dog, actual dog.
What,
The
what
lefty
y'all
slinger.
think about the Ole Miss Arkansas game?
Those games are always fun.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're always fun. The year before this season, Ole Miss and Arkansas, high scoring game. Came down to the last play. Ole Miss won it. This last year, Arkansas manhandled them in the run game. Just flat out manhandled them. Ole Miss defense didn't have an answer for that run game. With KJ Jefferson and Sanders, the two-headed duo run the rock. I mean, they're pounding the ball.
Toting that thing.
Yeah, Sam Pittman, he's also one of those guys in SC, hard-nosed football, hard-nosed backcountry football.
Just a good old country boy.
Those are good games. Any other games on your list, Will?
Bama, Texas.
Oh yeah, we touched on that. I mean, that's a big one. I agree. I mean,
My list is short.
we touched. Hey, mine's only 4 games.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Anything I say is gonna be short and sweet. If I drag it out, it gets kind of weird.
Well, let's touch on Chase's list with that USC Colorado.
I just like it because it's Dion's first season.
In the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah.
In the
In the Pac-12, in the
FBS.
Power 5.
Prime time.
prime time.
They're going to be tested early. I mean, that game's in the middle of the season for them, but it's a big game. Lincoln Riley with his experience in big games. Dion, not saying Dion primetime doesn't got it, but this is his first season of real test of football. I mean, the SWAC is not the hardest conference, I would say, in the country. I mean, I bet the SWAC's glad Dion's gone because he wasn't SWAC.
Who's swag?
Yeah, who's SWAC?
Who's SWAC?
But I think Dion, this is his, years to build on it, and this is the
And
first.
he's
and,
upgrade.
Yeah,
Like you said, he's upgrade.
yeah, he upgraded 100%.
Colorado Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, he told everybody
Upgrade.
he brought the Louis. He said he
He
bring
brought
the
the
Louis.
Louis, for sure.
Louis.
And I think the Louis was Travis Hunter. 2 years ago he was the number one overall high school kid to come into college. Chose to go with Dion and the SWAC to Jackson State.
As well as, didn't he bring his son?
Both sons, yeah.
Both of them.
Shiloh and
both of them?
Shador Sanders. Shiloh being a cornerback, just like his father was, and then Shador being quarterback. It's gonna be an interesting season. I can't wait to see those boys play, especially
But he was
Shador.
flipping SEC guys, too, which is absurd.
Yeah.
But
It's that Dion effect.
Dion effect.
I mean, who wouldn't want to go play for primetime?
And that fan base is, when they're alive, that fan base is awesome,
Well,
too. So,
Colorado's just like Tennessee in the '90s. Colorado, Nebraska, those are old programs that were hot, and they're trying to bring them back, and that's what's gonna make college
Shout
football
out
great again.
Huskers.
Nebraska, Matt Rule. I think
shout out
him
Huskers.
going there is gonna bring him back.
They
Deion
come
Sanders
over.
going to Colorado.
Shout out
used to be-
Huskers.
Colorado used to be a primetime, pun intended, program. And then Tennessee coming back, they're finally relevant again.
College football is great when Tennessee and Nebraska are good.
I can't. I
My
couldn't.
favorite time of year.
I couldn't agree more. Those are two programs that college football does need. It makes it interesting, especially with the format going to a 12-team
12
play.
team.
That's gonna be big.
Yeah.
It's gonna be huge.
As Tim Tebow said, college football is better when Tennessee's good.
He did, in fact, say that.
But then
you
let's
can look that one up.
Look that one up. He did write that one down. He did say that.
the guy that terrorized Tennessee for 4 years.
Honestly, I hate to bring up Nebraska.
I like Matt Rule.
I like Nebraska.
I mean,
this is being biased.
What he did at Baylor
I like
for his
Nebraska.
years there, I mean, they won a Big 12 championship under him. Had a great defense, had a great offense. Weren't able to get it done in the long run, but winning a Big 12 championship is a championship at the end of the day.
Dubsy dub.
100%.
Dub.
Let's go into our Heisman favorites. A guy that I like this year that was also a Heisman favorite at the beginning of the year, but injury plagued him. Quinn Ewers out of Texas. I think he has that big play potential. I mean, that arm, that composure for a young man, the way he plays, especially going to Ohio State for a year to get that bag, going back home to Texas, not having the best year due to injuries. But now, just like Jaden Daniels, he's got that offense under his belt. He's had his rounds. He's gonna do great. He's my Heisman favorite.
Who's the running back now that Bijan's gone? Do y'all know? Maybe?
Not exactly. I don't know.
Write that one down.
We're gonna have to come back to that.
Bijan.
Write that one down.
I mean, yeah, losing Bijan, but that's gonna open up the offensive playbook for Quinn with Bijan gone.
Yeah.
Because he was a lot of their offensive production last year.
Mm-hmm.
People were mad that he didn't make it to New York for the Heisman ceremony.
I was mad at him. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Biased fan.
Yeah. You gotta have your ACLs intact to go there.
Whoa.
It's hard to walk with only one.
And then I have a dark horse. Out of a guy named
No.
Judkins.
No.
Quinshon Judkins. Out of Ole Miss. I
That's
think
horrible.
he's also got that breakout playability. I mean, he was obviously either the best or top two, besides with Gibbs out of Alabama, to be the best running back in the SEC last year. I mean, he won SEC Offensive Player of the Year for freshman. Has that breakout potential, especially with Lane. I mean, you don't know what he's going to come with any Saturday of the week. I mean, that offense is deadly. It's like Heupel's. You don't know what he's going to come with. I mean, you got to be ready.
Or they fake injuries and then boom.
Once again, PTSD from Tennessee
Some people
fans.
get 5 timeouts.
Yeah, that's my Heisman favorite dark horses. I would like to hear y'all's. If y'all have a dark horse or a Heisman favorite.
My picks are Caleb Williams and Blake Coram, the running back for Michigan.
Yeah.
Both of them for Michigan. Sorry for mispronounced. And for my dark horse, I'm going to go with Bazooka Joe Milton, just because,
Biased fan.
yes, I am a Tennessee fan, but Tennessee has a high-scoring offense, and so he'll have the stats as a dark horse in the Heisman run.
I believe he's got the receivers that he can put something together.
I want to piggyback off that in a second.
I've got Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Mhm.
I mean, they were there last year. Both threw for over 4,000 yards. Only 5 interceptions for Caleb and 7 for Drake. Drake threw for 38 touchdowns. Caleb threw for 42. I mean, that's an incredible season. Both having around 66% completion rate. So, I mean, you've got to at least talk about them a little bit.
I mean, those are both Heisman numbers. I mean,
Yeah. You brought up an interesting point. The Heisman Trophy, is it strictly going to be just straight quarterbacks, you think, from here on out?
Yeah.
Besides,
9% of the time, unless
unless you
there's
got
a-
Devontae Smith from Alabama, who's just
you have another position player that is putting up absurd amount of numbers. Other than that, in the next few years, it'll just be quarterbacks.
I mean,
I
it's-
think if who's touching the ball every play.
yeah,
And
the
he's
leader.
got to do something with it. So
you got a name written down that could change that.
Marvin
Harrison.
Marvin
I
Harrison.
think
The
can-
guy 77 receptions for 1,200 yards is insane. I think if
And
Hyatt doesn't have that Alabama game, then I think he gets the blip.
I think
in the
easily.
quarterback talk about the Heisman. That's the numbers I'm talking about. You
Yeah, I
have
mean-
to put up something that's absurd for
Yeah.
your position
77
to get put in
receptions
the
for 1,200
Heisman.
yards, 16.4 average reception, and 14 touchdowns.
And the performance he put
That's
up against
absurd.
Georgia
I know
too.
CJ
Oh.
Stroud's a great quarterback, but still.
And I'm also
Shout out Big Ten.
Yeah.
the way
Shout out Big Ten.
quarterbacks are running now. Like there's a slim to none chance if you play defense, you're going to be on the Heisman list.
Yeah.
Speaking of Big Ten, there's something we forgot to talk about.
What's that, Chase?
Conference realignment.
Oh God.
Conference.
Oh God. 2023, there's
Wow.
some. 2024, there's going to be a whole lot. Even 2022, we had some in a group of 5. But once again, we had a lot of teams in 2022 come over.
Yeah, you got
James
a lot.
Madison was one of them, come from FCS to go to FBS. Old Dominion was another one of them. They went to a group of 5.
Nothing wrong with Group 5.
Nothing wrong with group of
Nothing
5.
wrong.
They're fun. They're fun to watch. They're, a group of 5 got into the playoffs a couple years ago in
Tulane
Cincy.
did beat USC last
in
year.
Tulane. I mean,
Just want to throw that out there for those Caleb Williams lovers.
but for the Power 5 group of conference realignment, there's a lot of big ones in 2024. Not really in 2023. For SEC 2024, it's Oklahoma and Texas. That's a big one. And the Big Ten 2024, USC and UCLA.
Not to mention, there's a lot of talk that's been going around lately about one, possibly 2 teams, Florida State and Clemson. Now, these are all rumors. I think that's going to be interesting if that ends up happening.
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 big programs right there. I mean, Florida State has the history. Clemson has the history with Dabo.
But the thing with Florida State and Clemson coming is with the ACC, they'll have to. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. But
They'll have to pay $30 million a year for 13 years before they can leave the ACC. If they come to the SEC, they'll have to pay a large sum of money
Yeah.
until they pay it off.
Another thing with the SEC and Big Ten, having those 4 programs, 2 each, those 2 conferences for a long time were a divisional format, East and West. For the longest time it was the East versus the West, SEC East and West versus the Big Ten. Now it's going to be just one division, and it's the best 2 teams in
who
conference
balls,
play.
who doesn't?
Yeah,
pretty much.
it comes down to that. So every game's going to even mean more. The Tennessee-Alabama game, 2024, if you lose that game, that hurts your chance. Now, this season, dampers it, but you can still make it to the SEC championship losing that game. ACC right now, once again, is rumors. No one's going to be moving.
Yeah, and that's just all I've been seeing on
Yeah.
the webs. I mean, it's
And then Pac-12, besides UCLA and USC leaving in 2024, Pac-12, there's rumors of San Diego State and SMU.
even on a big name,
Who?
Dion.
Oh,
Going to Big 12.
oh yeah, Deion going back to where he originally started. You anything to say about that?
I was going to say about North Carolina and Virginia will be the most dominant coming to the SEC.
Yeah, in all
Just
sports.
because you got to think it's not just football anymore.
Baseball,
Baseball,
basketball.
basketball.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, Colorado Big 12, that's confirmed. A lot of talk about a team, University of Arizona, which I find interesting. But they just met. University of Arizona, Arizona State, apparently had a meeting with the Big 12 today. I've not seen anything more on that. But
Yeah, and also the newcomers in the Big 12 this year. I mean, UCF, BYU, Houston, Cincinnati are joining. Those are 4 newcomers to the Big 12. That's gonna be interesting to see how those guys play coming from a group of 5 and / independent. how they play with the big dogs. I mean, BYU's proven they can play with the big dogs. Cincinnati,
UCF has a.
even Houston. I mean,
they're claimed national champions. So.
Shout out to Destroying.
Shout out D.
And also, I wouldn't think the SEC would be worried about when they add other teams because they already dominantly of their top SEC contenders
yeah.
coming in for the championship.
It's not for me. It's not necessarily the worry. It's more about. I just feel like it's ruining college sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's about
all
to be
money. It's all money.
it's a Power 5,
Everything's about
Power
numbers
4.
nowadays.
I mean,
Yeah.
Especially talking about the teams coming in, leaving ACC, how much money it's going to cost them to leave to join another division.
Exactly.
but with that being said, I mean, can we go over like just the group of 5 real quick? I mean, they're not that big. We don't really care about them, but Conference USA.
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
Jacksonville State like that.
Conference
Dude.
USA is
Whoa.
joining this year. They're getting Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State,
One of
Sam
my best
Houston,
friends of all time be
Jacksonville
holding
State.
down the line at Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and they go to
Uh-huh.
Conference USA now, leading the FCS, going to Conference USA. And then in 2024, Kennesaw State's also joining Conference USA, which is gonna really
Shout
shape.
out D'Lo Hardy.
Yeah, gonna shape it up real quick. And then Maction, we all love Maction if you're
Love
called.
action.
But they're not adding anybody or subtracting anybody this
They
year.
don't need it. They're perfect the way they are.
The American Athletic Conference, I really love it. I'm a big Navy fan. I love the Naval Academy.
Why do you like Navy?
I got a good friend that goes there.
What's his friend's name?
Shout out to J Baby.
Jordan Sanders, great friend of mine.
Good dude.
You know, I hope they do well this year. I really have them doing extremely
Awesome
well,
dude.
Especially from after last year. They got a whole new
Phenomenal
coaching
guy.
staff this year. They just got rid of their old coach, but they got a whole new coaching staff that's from
Are
Kennesaw
they-
State actually.
Really?
Yeah,
So
they-
they're gonna probably keep the triple option then?
Yeah, they're
'Cause
keeping the
that's-
triple option, but their defense has changed up a lot.
Okay.
But
Switching the D up.
with the American Athletic Conference this year, they've added the most teams out of every conference. They added Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, UAB, and UTSA.
Wait, who's this?
American Athletic Conference,
Oh.
AAC. They added Charlotte, FAU, North Texas,
Wow.
Rice, and UAB, and UTSA. I think
Rice?
Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, UAB, and UTSA are big ones they got. Rice don't have the history of being a huge program in football, or they've gotten better in a lot of sports. Baseball, they picked up a lot. And then the Mountain West, they're not moving nobody in the Sun Belt. They're not moving anybody. Last year they added some teams, but they're not adding anybody anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's our
I'll
last
put it on
segment?
it. I'll buy it.
We're gonna do game day
Yeah.
traditions at our last segment. Okay.
I gotta think
Ready?
of something.
We all ready? I already know mine.
Then you start us
I
off.
already know my game day tradition.
Oh, like for us
Yeah. It's,
or the sport, the college itself.
what do you mean?
Are you talking about our game day tradition, or like the college's game day tradition?
No, like,
No,
what,
like,
if
what
you're,
do you-
You're
like,
waking
it's a
up
Saturday
morning.
Oh, all right.
Roll out the sheets.
You're rolling out the sheet.
All right. Game day traditions for me. All right, do we even want me to go into like the past, or do we want to just talk about now?
How about now?
I want you to know. I want you to say what you're going to do.
I'm all about a tailgate. I love a good tailgate.
What are you going to do that morning before the Nashville game? What are you
Before
gonna do?
Nashville, that's a Saturday, right? Because we usually play on.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we played on Thursdays basketball. Anyways, what day is that?
I don't think it's a
September
Saturday.
2nd? Yeah, it's a Saturday. It's a Saturday.
It's Saturday. They play
Um,
at 5, don't they?
we got it right here.
It's a,
It's at noon. It's at noon.
it's a
at
Friday.
noon.
It's a Friday.
It's a Saturday, dog. It says it right there.
September 3rd is the.
It's September,
September
2nd.
2nd, dude.
Oh,
Anyways.
sure, Tim.
Well, if we're talking about a noon game,
Third, you water weasel.
Third.
if we're talking about a noon game, it depends on what the atmosphere is like. If we're all together.
Just forget about Arizona. We're in Tennessee.
We're in the heart of Tennessee.
Hard Tennessee. All right. So I'm assuming we're gonna be together.
Yes.
The boys are gathered.
Boys are gathered.
Boys are buzzing.
Everybody is picking up an item.
Okay. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm picking up for sure. Can I go?
Go for
Okay.
it.
You already
So I'm
said
gonna roll out of bed probably at 9, get showered, get the vibes going. If I'm headed to Billy's house, I'll probably pick up some Beef O'Brady's pickle chips on the way.
Oh,
Shout out Beefs. That's not sponsored.
Beefs.
Beefs. Love
Do it
Beefs.
for beefs.
Yeah, probably pick up if it's a bring your own item. I'll bring some pickle chips. Get there, probably have a couple drinks in me.
I'm saying, you gotta stop at the whole gas and go.
And then it's an all day thing. You know, you're gonna sit there, eat the whole day, watch college football. You know,
Yes.
that's pretty much it.
You basically say diss your whole diet on Saturdays.
Yeah.
When college football's going on.
Yeah. That's why you work out in the week and you can
That's what I'm
enjoy it
saying.
on the weekends.
That's why I picked the blue collared lifestyle.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew, what are we thinking?
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, he's not.
He's
not
not.
done.
My boy's not
I'm
done.
not done.
The guy can keep going.
No, if this is a 7 p.m. kickoff, I'm getting up, I'm eating, and then I'm drinking the whole day.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know if that's allowed to say on this, but I'm drinking the whole day.
We're of age.
I'll probably be
Of age.
buzzing. I'll probably be buzzing my kickoff.
By the way, we do not condone underage drinking.
Not
We're
at all.
all of 21 of age.
We do not condone drinking and driving either. That is horrible.
Anyways, I'm buzzing by start kickoff, and then I'll probably be a stress ball the whole Tennessee game, if we're being honest, because I'm always stressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's my game day tradition.
Let's
Let's hear Saturday in Baton Rouge.
Saturday
Oh,
Bad Rouge.
Get close.
God.
Get close to the
Nah,
mic. Let me hear it.
It's
I mean,
gotta
it's been a while.
It's gotta
It's
be.
6:30 in the morning.
It's been a while since I've been to the
Get close to the mic.
to
Let's hear it.
BR, but for me, just I wake up and usually the first thing I do is I cut on the TV and I watch College Game Day. And also piggybacking off Chase, like it doesn't matter. Noon kickoff, 3:30, 7 o'clock. Those kickoffs matter. So watch College Game Day, get my fill of Lee Corso, Pat McAfee, Kirk Herbstreit.
Oh,
You know,
I think Pat was a good addition.
it was a great addition. Watch that, get their picks, get in the group chat, start talking a little bit of that jive. And then, depending on the time of kickoff, if we're hanging out later that night, it's a 7 kickoff, and we're going to go watch Tennessee, or if it's LSU, or just watching any game, it don't really matter. We just want to hang out. We're all boys. We're just chilling. I'm watching college football from 12 to I got to go somewhere. Now, if we've planned something in the week where we're meeting up, I'm there. But usually, like, Baton Rouge, the environment's great.
Louisiana Saturday night.
It's that's a good song. But the vibes are great. I've been fortunate to go to a couple LSU games. It's fun. It's everybody's welcoming if you're an LSU fan. It's a pretty hostile crowd for the most part. Those Southern Bayou boys, which they call it. This is the dirty South we're talking
I've
about.
been to an LSU game.
Yeah, it's
if you're in betweener, you're not a fan of either team. LSU brings you in.
yeah, they're very loving.
Bring you in.
But they're probably incapacitated by like 10 a.m. You think I'm joking?
It's something you definitely got to experience. I got to experience it one time.
It's-
we didn't go. We
It's
didn't go.
Baton Rouge.
I'll take a week in the
7
Baton Rouge.
o'clock game.
Yeah.
It's got to be something special.
Yeah, it's fun.
You better strap on your belt.
Just the night. You hear them talk about the sunsets in the west in Death Valley. It's magical. I mean, I've been to Neyland, great place. But obviously,
Best place.
I'm obviously a little biased. I love LSU. I love Death Valley.
Second best place.
It's something different at night.
Yeah.
That's what they're known for.
Don't interrupt, and then we'll let you go. LSU fans are so nice to me at Omaha College World Series. I purposely wore my Tennessee stuff because
Speaking of a hell of a baseball team,
great baseball team,
I mean-
great baseball team. But I wore my
Go Vols.
Go Vols, go Vols. I wore my Tennessee stuff every day because I'm obnoxious and I like wearing my Tennessee. They were buying me drinks because everyone hates Florida.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
they were buying me
no
drinks.
one likes Florida.
Someone said like the saying, it's like an enemy of
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
exactly, and that's what it was. And if it was Tennessee LSU playing, it might have been a different story.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was fun.
of course.
So yeah, all right. Let's hear y'all's.
I'm gonna go wake up, somehow find out how my alarm could be Rocky Top.
Just figure it out.
That's gonna be the
With
start
that
of my
homeboy
day.
playing the fiddle.
Whether I gotta go to work or I gotta go to the golf course. Hopefully I can crank out an 8 o'clock tea time, be done by 11:30, and
That's
30
that's
minutes.
fast golf.
Catch the last half of college game day.
But yeah, dream ideal. Play golf in the morning. Get there for 12 o'clock tea time, or the game time, and then just hang out with the fellas and enjoy some college football. If I had to bring one thing, I'm always a chips guy.
Chips.
Somebody's got the dip. I've got the chip.
I know
You
from
know?
experience, boy always has the chips. He always has the
He
chips.
always has the
So
chips.
It's known that I will always bring the chips.
What's
I
your
may
go-
not have the dip, but I've got the chip.
What's your go-to chip?
Tostitos. The scoop.
The scoops?
Scoops.
Oh,
I
scoops
know,
are a
I
big
get
play.
it called
Hey,
it.
Also from
Fritos-
experience,
Fritos
he will
scoops
forget
as
the
well.
dip, so
Fritos.
someone's got to bring the dip.
Yeah, so I mean, it's you literally just throw the scoop. Sometimes it's Tito's. If it's the triangle ones, it's hard to pick up a lot.
And they break easily, too.
Hey, the
I mean,
scoops are sturdy. I give them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can knock
You didn't
them.
even...
And
My bad.
the Tostitos dip too. It's really good. I'm not a big spice guy. It's why me and Matt can't share food.
I got you.
But yeah, it's the dip is it's got to come with the chip.
You didn't even give your
Food?
food.
Hey,
Something
So
hot is my guess.
Some Cajun.
So,
versus
like-
Mom's got a fresh pot of jambalaya
yeah,
on.
so
It's so awesome.
oh,
So Cajun food's the best.
Yeah.
Shout out LSU. Shout out Louisiana.
it's
love jambalaya.
it's
I know I
the
was talking
it's the
shit.
it's the translation of love down there's food. I mean jambalaya, gumbo, crawfish season starts in March. Sadly, it doesn't bleed in to football season. You can still have crawfish in the season. It's just not as good as March. They're bigger, they're fattier.
Yeah.
Fatty-ish.
Throw them in there live.
Yeah. So really, just the food down there is more just like it's rice and meat, to say the least. It's really just rice and meat,
With some
crawfish.
spice.
Yeah, it was a
Some
spice.
Would you throw it on a crack?
But here, I mean, we like to.
That's
here,
money, dude.
Yeah.
That shit on the cracker, dude.
Here, we like to grill out more. I mean, usually my man Billy's man in the unit over there on the
Burgers
grill.
and dogs action for sure.
Yeah, burgers and dogs action. That's usually Bill's job.
Will's always on grill duty.
Yeah.
The guy can cook them.
Yeah, so we bring the meats. He brings himself. He gets
Arby's.
it done.
His Arby's
Let's
out
see.
here. Not sponsored by Arby's. Anyways,
What are we thinking, William?
Billy, let's hear your game day.
Give us your
'cause-
insight.
I'm rolling out the sheets, boys.
Okay.
Are you kicking them?
No, I'm straight leg.
Shout out Brad. Kick the sheets.
Booting them things, huh?
But usually on Saturdays I wake up because you can't watch football without a fresh cut lawn.
Of course.
You always gotta cut.
Go on.
The boys always interrupting me.
What's that?
But you're saying cutting the lawn?
Sorry, Will.
You always gotta roll out. You can't watch football without a fresh cut lawn.
Oh my lord. You're
got-
cutting the lawn on a Saturday?
Yeah, because you can't be out there grilling and seeing weeds hanging up. If y'all coming over, there can't be no weeds.
Best believe that lawn's trimmed.
It's trim and edge.
No,
everything.
no clippings.
He's bagging it.
But after I clean up and all that good jazz, I'm gonna go-
You a zero turn or you a pusher?
You look like a push mower type guy.
I do have two push motors. I do have two
Either
push motors.
repel or
Yeah,
you
does
just
it
push.
got- does it
No,
got
no,
the-
they're self-propelled.
Oh yeah.
Self-propelled.
Well, you Husqvarna or you?
I've got a Husqvarna and I got an Ego.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
like that.
But I'm gonna go to the gas station, grab me a case of the adult beverages.
2-4.
One thing that Billy, he'll have a 12-pack no matter what.
Yeah, I mean the guy just drinks.
Let's just take more of an 8-pack. Now they don't sell those, but
It depends where he's
when he
going.
shows up, it's an 8-pack.
Because we're bumming one off.
Yeah, because
Anyways.
y'all bummed them off.
Also,
me.
if we didn't say, we do not condone underage drinking.
Or
No.
drinking and driving.
No drinking.
But I'm always calling up moms. You gotta have that buffalo chicken dip. There.
Oh, the
Oh,
buff
the
chick dip.
buff.
Gosh,
you gotta have
Jesus.
buffalo chicken
Buff
dip.
chick dip.
I mean,
Are you
I'll
a
make it-
Publix buff chick dip or a homemade buff chick?
The homemade.
Homemade.
Dude,
Oh.
Mandy throws it down.
Miss
sometimes
Mandy.
you gotta do the
Dude.
Publix. I
Dude,
mean,
Publix, it's in
on
a
demand, you
a
gotta.
quick,
Okay.
a quick pinch.
No,
Sorry,
not
s-
gonna lie. Friday nights, I go pick up. Mom texts me ingredients. I go to the store, pick
Boom,
them
text
up.
message, recipe, you got it. You got
I go pick up all the ingredients and I just drop them off at the house.
Nice.
Just drop them off at
I'll
the
pick
house.
it up. in
I'm
the
telling you,
AM.
that stuff will have you
That's what
touching
I'm saying.
Jesus.
Just put it in the mailbox, Mom.
Yep. Keep it hot.
Yeah. What's going on? You're done cutting the grass.
Got the
Boys are about to head over. What's going through your head?
Dude, I gotta sit up the alignment because my living room's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And so I gotta sit up the couches so every one of them's aimed at the TV.
Yep.
Have y'all
Sometimes
come
if
over?
you want to get spicy, you got 2 TVs.
No, but I'm big. Halftime, cornhole.
That's
We're
what
throwing
it
cornhole.
Not too good at bags.
is. Yeah, bad.
We're from the south. We don't call it bags,
I was
but
about to say that's a.
We're not the bag. We're not the best back throwers.
you know, you could catch me spicy in a game of spike ball.
But y'all know,
I like that. I like
I'm nasty at spike ball.
in between games, little darts.
Oh God, you
little
could play
darts.
some lawn darts. Wouldn't be too bad.
Lawn darts are always a good
Little
one.
darts get your
Right.
buzz burning.
Gosh, that's nice. And then wake up Sunday morning, NFL countdown.
NFL countdown.
You might be a
But
little,
usually
little conjunction.
on after a good college game day, sleeping in.
Oh, no doubt.
We're sleeping in.
Yeah.
Except they don't have any London games on that morning.
I
gotta
wouldn't
go to
wake up for a
church,
London game either. I'm waking up for that Patriots Germany.
No,
game.
but I
know
love
that.
about college game day. I work on Saturdays for a little bit, but in the days I don't, we're going somewhere. We're
Yeah.
going to one of y'all's houses, or we're calling some people up because it's going to be a group event.
We get something done for sure. I
Yep.
do agree. So is that all of
I
our?
guess that's it, man.
Yeah,
Fellas?
we're just wrapping up here. There's more to come. This is just episode 1. You
Yeah,
know,
We're just warming up, y'all.
you
If
know,
anybody's got any recommendations,
Please.
anything y'all want us to cover, just let us know.
please, and also,
Yeah.
we've touched this in the opening. We're gonna have guest interviewers. We're gonna have things. We're gonna also try to be in touch with y'all. We don't have a big presence right now, but we plan to have a big presence because it's just really 4 guys, good friends, just having fun.
Didn't have much to go off this time.
Yeah, no, it's
It's
preseason.
way too early for that.
Throw
So,
some stuff in the comments.
Yeah.
Throw some in the comments. Even if you're one of our friends, please throw some in the comments. We love the feedback.
Yeah. Also, I want to. This isn't just like a strictly SEC podcast.
No.
I want to talk about Nebraska.
No,
Shout out
and-
the Huskers.
Shout out Huskers, man.
Hey,
I want
also-
to talk about Nebraska. I want to talk about Washington. Shout out the Dogs. I want to talk about, Utah.
I think it's just college football.
It's just
in
college
general that we
football.
wanna cover.
See, without the season rolling, it's hard to have
Yeah.
good topics.
Yeah,
because
we're also-
it always starts off different.
We're also gonna
From,
touch on.
the defending champ of our fantasy football league. If you have
Yeah.
any ideas,
Oh,
don't
man.
ask me. I got lucky.
Yeah, we're also gonna talk. We're
Hey,
also gonna go
Don't
over.
let him talk stuff because we ended up tying actually.
We're also gonna go over fantasy football, and we're gonna do weekly pick'ems, 5 college teams or 5 college games, excuse me, and 5 NFL games
Yeah.
with fantasy.
And nobody here can beat me at cornhole.
So
Just to
if
let y'all
you
know.
can also join our fantasy. We'll try to see if we can get something up where y'all can also interact with that as well.
That's gonna be
That's
a nightmare of a fantasy league.
Yeah.
Anything y'all want to say, say it. We're listening.
Say it, slide in them DMs.
And yeah, please give us recommendations. We love it.
Yeah.
Things we could do better. Things you want to talk about. It's honestly for y'all. We'll talk about anything.
No, and it's football season right now. Basketball's after that.
24 days till
Hey.
kickoff.
We'll talk about any sport.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
preseason starting soon with NFL.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
Hopefully we can make it to a lot of games and get y'all some footage.
I'll be at games.
Ask-
I'll be at a Cowboys game in October. So I don't know if y'all care for the Cowboys, but
And then if y'all want, I'll start asking random people questions.
go out in the streets and interview some people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Just-
saying. I'll start knocking on doors.
Yeah.
That's probably not safe.
But-
but-
Door-to-door sales for Lowdown Sports. Invest in our podcast.
Well, we appreciate y'all's time.
Yeah,
Thank y'all.
that was fun, guys.
Sure.
We'll see you.
See you.